ho. Merry December, everyone. That's right. It's officially December. And as I said when I did my State of Bjorn in the summer, when December came around, I was going to do another State of Bjorn address. And we all know this is the most important thing that has happened in the last 2 months. The State of Bjorn address is beloved by all the people. More important than the PlayStation State of Play, and more important than the real life State of the Union. Alright, this is super fucking important. And we have some big announcements today. I posted this on my Discord, but I'm going to start off with some bad news. A little bit of a letdown for some of y'all, I'm sure. I'm kind of bored of writing cape shit. Now, I know that might be unfathomable to some of you, because I know a lot of you are literally following me because of the Suicide Squad and stuff I wrote a while ago. And I'm going to keep writing cape shit eventually. I just need a fucking break, guys. I've been writing nothing but cape shit, and it's getting into my head. I see fucking superheroes when I look out my window. They're fucking flying by and doing shit like that. I'm really done with it. And I need a break. So let me say what this means. I'm pushing back the Thunderbolts in the Avengers movie. And that's going to be disappointing to some of y'all. It'll probably come out either late December of this next year or into 2026 if I'm still doing these by then, which I think I will be. I enjoy making these videos. So yeah, and those take a while. Those projects take a while. But I did the same thing to the Thunderbolts 2 a while back, and I think it made it a better movie by giving me some time to think about what I want to do with it. So, yeah, and you might be thinking, well, Bjorn, your slate just opened up a lot, and it did. I'm going to be announcing a new project I'm working on that'll actually be coming out pretty soon. I got really passionate about it for a bit, and I wrote like a ton of it. So, we'll get into that in a second. The other bit of bad news is Indiana Jones. This is actually a mixed bag of bad and good news. Trust me on this. I'm pushing it back to the summer. Specifically, Indiana Jones will drop on this channel June of 2025. That is very specific. I'm thinking June's 5th or 4th. It's dropping on this channel. And that is because there's a meta IRL reason why I'm pushing this back. Let's just say there's something has happened, something has changed in my life, and it's going to make the Indiana Jones better. I can't say what it is, and it's meta. It has nothing to do with the script or me, or the script is basically done. It has nothing to do with any of this. It's an extremely meta, very specific reason why I've decided to push this project back. It will all make sense when it comes out in June. And let me just say this. The production value that's going to be added to it is going to be crazy. And I will announce some other stuff about Indiana Jones. A lot of people don't know this, but I've been taking Japanese classes in college. I can speak Japanese. I don't really advertise that. I don't really talk about it. So I'm going to deliver the dialogue for the Japanese characters in Japanese with subtitles. We're going to see how that goes. That's a little experiment. I did a poll or something on my Discord, and everyone told me this is what I should do. So, yeah, that'll be coming out in June. Again, my slot is looking wide open. What's even left? Well, I'll tell you what's left. We have Justice League Dark, the finale, the part 3, the third one, whatever, the end of my DC universe. Now, I know I just said I wasn't writing cape shit, but arguably, in my opinion, Justice League Dark is barely cape shit. It has a completely different feel to it. So that I will be writing sometime next year. Probably going to do a project in between them. I'm going to continue my Stormlight Archive adaptation. This is actually, like, I barely even contemplate this as a project because I'm not writing much dialogue for it. I can turn out one of these Stormlight scripts in a week, and so they're very easy for me to write. And for that reason, I'm going to keep this going in the background, and it won't actually take up much of my time. Writing one of these scripts takes me like 2 or 3 days. I think I wrote the first one in 2 or 3 days. It's very easy. So this isn't that big of a commitment. So that will keep running. I'm going to finish the Get Out guys. A lot of that script is actually done. I think you're going to get the second act sometime later this month or very, very early in January. It should be this month. I'm on break as of the time this video is going to be uploaded. So yeah, we're going to be training. So let's talk about the new projects you can expect. Filling in the void for the Avengers and Thunderbolts 3. This is going to be the Summer of Fantasy, and that is also going to be the theme for the next writing contest, by the way. We're doing fantasy. I'll get more into the details of that later in January. But I will let y'all know now, the theme for this one is fantasy. And so we're going to be doing 2 fantasy shows in addition to Justice League Dark, in addition to Stormlight. Now, they both have very different feels. One of them is an old fan favorite. That is, of course, Deadlands Season 2. This is going to be coming later in the year. Then the new unannounced project will be the project that is more recent. I think I've already talked about it last State of Bjorn. I did lie, and it turned out to actually be Stormlight that I was writing. There is a lie somewhere in here. You'll have to figure that out. But the Deadlands Season 2 will be exactly as I described it there. It is going to be about the City of Gloom. Interestingly, this is going to be sort of a very different feel and vibe. In fact, it's going to have a different protagonist than Season 1 did. No John Weber for obvious reasons, and no Miss Moon either. No, none of them are. They're in it, but they're not the main characters. The new main character is a steel worker working on the bowels of the City of Gloom, where most of the ghost rock machines and mechanisms are created. And he is starting an uprising in the City of Gloom, a rebel movement that wants to overthrow the sort of theocracy that is ruling that city-state. And there's going to be some chaos there. How do our previous season tie into this? What's going on? Is there a supernatural angle to all of this? The story will be told in sort of an anthology format, and by that I don't mean like each episode is going to be a different story. More like each episode is going to tell its story from a different perspective, and eventually all these perspectives will tie together into the finale. That will make more sense as the episodes start to come out. So you can look forward to Deadlands City of Gloom sometime probably in the summer. The next project I'm going to announce is this is the big one. Justice League Dark 3, I'm going to talk about it briefly. I announced previously that it's called Upside Down Empire. That is going to remain true. Upside Down Empire is going to be the finale to my DC universe. I've said this like 100 times. It's interesting. It's an interesting one. It picks up almost exactly where the second one left off. That's a pretty recent upload, so I'm not really going to talk too much about that. But I'll give a very vague synopsis. As Upside Down Man decides to engage humanity and destroy them to save his vision of the multiverse, the members of Justice League Dark have to confront their own pasts and hidden secrets in order to find a way to seal away the Upside Down Man before his reign of terror destroys the universe as we know it. That's a very vague description. It maybe drops a little hints about what you can expect. This is going to be a story refocusing on the core members of Justice League Dark. The last one kind of went out of control, a lot of side characters. This one's going to narrow in on the core members and specifically their pasts, their backstories, what makes them tick. How did they get to where they are? Do they have secrets that they're hiding from the others? And some other little teasers I dropped. Even in the first movie, I left some hints about what's going to happen in this movie. Obviously, the second one has a ton of hints and left on a big cliffhanger. So you can expect all of that to be resolved here. Now, let's get to the actual big announcement. The Mystery Project. I started teasing this a couple days ago, but I've actually been working on this for about 2 weeks. And what spurred me into this is a recent television release. Because I'm going to be writing the third season of an existing television show. I haven't done this yet, and the show met my criteria for what I look for in a writing project. There has to be interesting character or world, something that draws me to it. There has to be enough open-endedness that I can tweak and change things, but enough there that I can pull from what's already in the source material. In fact, this franchise drew me in much like DC Comics did. There's a lot of very varied characters and a ton going on, and trying to pluck something from all that and make an interesting narrative seemed like an interesting challenge. And the thing that really drew me to this is that the characters are engaging, but are in need of some cleanup, and the lore is a mess, and so it's in need of some straightening out and weaving into a narrative. These are all things that drive me to a project. And that project is writing the third season of Arcane. For those who aren't aware, Arcane is a Netflix adaptation of League of Legends, the video game. Obviously, I have some history with Tencent, who owns Riot. Me and them, we've had some beef. They stole my fucking Cocaine Bear review. Me and them, we got some issues. But I'm going to do them a solid. I'm going to write the third season for them. Those who haven't watched Arcane yet, this is going to stand alone from Arcane, and that's a little bizarre, but they basically announced that Arcane is going to be an anthology two seasons of shows set in the League universe, each set in a different area with a different group of characters. Our Arcane's second season ended the Piltover Zarn storyline. And they've announced basically that the sequel is going to be either Noxus or Ionia or Damaskia, or it's one of those places. But what shocked me was the area they didn't announce the show was going to be set in. Because from what I'd heard and what I'd read, everyone seemed to kind of be thinking it was in one spot, either Noxus or this other location. So I started looking into that other location. I was like, why did people think this is going to be it? Not a lot of champions from League are here. I think it's something like 7 or 8 named characters here. And that area is Bilgewater. So I will be writing an Arcane-style 9-episode season centered around Bilgewater. For those who don't know and don't play League, I hope that's most of you. Bilgewater is a pirate city on the islands of Bilgewater. And there is a lot of interesting lore and stuff going on there. So you've got these pirate captains fighting for power over a lawless, pirate-ruled city ruled by something they call the Reaver King. The king of the pirates, basically. And in addition to him, there's all these supernatural stuff swirling around the islands. Off the coast of the islands, there's this shadow, I think they're called the Shadow Isles, where this ancient evil sort of green mist ruled by someone called Thresh and another guy called Viego. And it's like this ancient evil that very Lovecraftian. There's another Lovecraftian god of the sea that has influence in the city and has some champions that are like sort of consumed by it. And there's priestesses that worship that. There's a lot of really cool shit going on here. Ancient demons of gambling. Obviously, this is up my alley. You got a lot of different characters here. A pirate aesthetic mixed with some like southern folktale Mississippi sort of urban legend sort of vibe going on with like Twisted Fate and Tom Kinch. So obviously this drew my attention. So I started looking into the lore and I started writing down an outline and I worked up something incredible. My third season of Arcane will be set in Bilgewater. I'm going to write the whole thing. Even if you haven't seen Arcane, I don't know why you haven't yet. Go check out Arcane. It's actually one of the best shows on TV right now. Like genuinely incredible. But even if you haven't seen Arcane, this is going to be standalone. I'm not going to be playing with any of the characters from Arcane. This is its own setting and location. It's set in League. You don't need to know anything about League to understand mine. I'm going to be doing a stream playing League, God help me, where I'll talk more about this and what I sort of intend to do with it. But obviously, for those who know about Bilgewater, the main character will be Miss Fortune, one Sarah Fortune. The main antagonist is going to be Gangplank, the Reaver King. And then there's going to be, Twisted Fate, Graves, Nautilus, Pike, and then Iole, or Iolia? Whatever, the tentacle witch. And then one of my personal favorite fictional characters of all time, Tom Kinch, the catfish demon, will be also featured in mine. And maybe some other ones. Maybe I'll have some original characters too, you don't know. So yes, I'm going to try to match the absolute quality and structure of Arcane. And even if you haven't seen that, check it out. I would say stylistically and tonally, it's a mix between my Deadlands and Suicide Squad. So if you like either of those or both of them, you're probably going to get a kick out of this. If you like Arcane, I'd like to think you're going to like this. It does have a different vibe because obviously pirates, but I'm trying to match the sort of idea of Arcane with this. So this is what I would do if, I think it's Studio Forte just came to me and was like, hey, you're writing Arcane. This is what I would do. And that will be coming out really soon. I've already finished a lot of it. I got really passionate about this. The deep dives into the lore. It's all very good. Actually, League has incredible lore. I won't lie. It's a little all over the place, especially Bilgewater. Bilgewater doesn't seem to get much attention recently, but I'm a big fan of it. So, check that out. I will include at the end of this the opening scenes of one of the episodes of the first act. For those who haven't seen League, they divide it into 3-episode acts. So, 3 episodes will be the first act, 3 episodes will be the second, and 3 episodes will be the third act. I'm going to release the first 3 episodes as one episode. Just the first act, I think, is how I'm going to do it. So, it will be an opening from one of those, and it will involve Tom Kinch. So, enjoy that. Without any further ado, I give you my take on Arcane Season 3 set in Bilgewater. We're going to open on the bustling streets of Bilgewater. Men in, piratey looking costumes move back and forth across towering wooden buildings hanging over the ocean. I'll show visuals of what Bilgewater's supposed to look like. Again, this is the sort of thing you leave to a set designer or a visuals guy. We see a woman with bright red hair walking down the street. She looks nervous. Her eyes dart back and forth as if she's being followed. She approaches a building in the middle of Bilgewater and then enters. The room is dim. Only a few stray rays of sunlight shine tinted green by painted windows. We can see some fine furniture and the outline of a desk. Someone large is sitting there, hidden by the shadows of the unlit room. We hear a deep voice with a southern drawl. "Welcome. I've been expecting you." The voice is deep and has a Mississippi southern drawl. I'll try my best at this one, but my drawl is very different, and so I actually struggle with it. The woman, who I will go ahead and say is Abigail Fortune, I believe it is, Miss Fortune, says, "You were expecting me?" The man in the shadows says, "Why, of course. I expect everyone to come eventually. Tell me, friend, are you a gambling man?" Mrs. Fortune says, "No, I don't see the point." The figure in the dark slams his hand down on his desk. The room almost shakes from the force of it. "Don't see the point. The point is to get wealthy, friend. I see that look in your eyes. You need money. I'll tell you what. I'll pay for your first hand." A golden kraken coin comes rolling from the dark. It wobbles, then falls right in front of Mrs. Fortune. She eyes it nervously. "With that and just a bit of luck, you could have enough gold to buy your own ship. You ever wanted to be a captain?" The woman says, "No." She eyes the coin, but doesn't pick it up yet. The man says, "Go on, pick it up. It's a gift. There's a card house not a block from here. I know the owner personally. Reputable sort. Go play a hand." She says, "I didn't come here for gambling money. I don't play the odds." The man says, "Oh, well, that is disappointing. With a name like Mrs. Fortune, it seems a shame not to be a gambling man." She begins to quaver in fear. She never gave this man her name. The man says, "Not here to gamble. So what do you want with an old soul like me?" We see a lighter spark in the darkness. The man lights a cigar. For the first time, we can see him. It's Tom Kinch. I'm sure most of y'all picked that up almost immediately if you played League. He looks exactly like he does in the game. Here's a picture of him on screen. A catfish man with sharp teeth and whiskers and a top hat dressed in a nice suit. He's very heavy set. A large set of sharp teeth and a tongue so long that it reaches all the way up towards the table. It lights a cigar and then begins to puff on it, illuminating his face in the darkness. The woman nervously says, "They say you can give someone something they want." Tom Kinch says, "And most folks just want money to gamble. So I ask again, what do you want from me?" The woman says, "Talent. I want talent. Enough to make a living as a reputable woman. You see, sir, I follow the path and the practice of pacifism. Here in Bilgewater, it's hard to find work as a woman like that." Tom Kinch seems to smile. We can see his smile grow by the light of his cigar. "Talent? I can give you talent. The sort to make money. A gunsmith. You'll be a gunsmith, best in the city. No one would be able to deny your skill, and everyone will want to come for your business." The woman says, "A gunsmith, but that would break my tenet. I can't. I follow the path." Tom Kinch says, No, Miss Fortune. You just make the weapons. What others do with them ain't on you. You wouldn't break your creed, you'd bend it away. This is my offer, my only offer." The woman says, "What do you get from this?" Tom Kinch smiles again. Me? I'm an altruistic man. I get to help a woman in need. And let's say 10% of the profits. A man has to eat, after all. He licks his lips with his long tongue. Miss Fortune says, "Fine, I'll do it." Tom moves his cigar from his lips and uses it to light some candles on his table. They illuminate the desk. There we can see a piece of paper with writing on it. A contract, already written. Tom Kinch says, "I'm gonna need a signature." Mrs. Fortune says, Do you have a pen?" Tom says, "Oh no, not like that. I'm gonna need it in blood." He holds up a knife, a small knife. Tom says, "Just a prick on the finger should do." Miss Fortune nervously approaches Tom. The large catfish man continues to lick his lips even more intensely as she gets closer. He looks hungry. He slowly holds out the knife to her. She takes it. Then he reaches into a green bowl on his desk and comes back with a squirming tentacled sea creature. He eats it whole, slurping down the tentacles as Mrs. Fortune pricks her finger. We can see blood running down the finger. Tom gestures to the contract. "Just a fingerprint. Oh, and you should know I expect profits. With the skill I'll give you, men will come from far around to get your weapons. Just don't turn them down." With that, Mrs. Fortune presses her finger into the contract, leaving a bloody footprint. Tom Kinch laughs. "It is a pleasure doing business. I think that if you try your hand at making a firearm tonight, you'll find a skill you didn't know you had." His laugh turns deeper into a belly laugh. Mrs. Fortune turns to leave nervously. As she starts to walk out, we hear Tom one last time. "Oh, and Miss Fortune, that coin there is yours. Think of it as a deposit on your new business." As Mrs. Fortune passes the coin, she picks it up. We can see the golden kraken glittering on the coin. The blood from her cut finger smears across it. From that coin, we're going to cut to the intro. That is actually the first scene of the second episode, which will be featured in the first episode I release onto YouTube, since I'm doing them in 3-episode batches. Not really a big action scene, but sort of a character introduction for Abigail Fortune. So, and also Tom Kinch, who is maybe my favorite character in all of League of Legends. So if this intrigued you, check out the full episode when it releases in January. Thank you all for tuning in to the State of Bjorn, and I'll see you in the... Well, hold on, wait a minute, that can't be right. I'm looking at my script here, and it says there's one more teaser. Oh, that... silly me. I'm also going to give you the introduction to Justice League Dark 3. How did that get in here? Oh, well, I guess, now it says I have to do it. I guess we have to do it, so let's go right into that. We're going to open on a dark bedroom. All of the furniture is ancient and Middle Eastern African in aesthetic. Curtains billow in the wind from an open window and a balcony. The walls are made of a yellow stone. The framing of the shot is centered around the open window. We see text that says, "The Lost City of Kor, 3,500 years ago." We can hear screams from outside and cries of alarm. A man shrouded in dusk sits up. We can see a large object flying down from the sky. It glows bright. Then it slams into the ground, and we see a brilliant white flash of light. It's blinding. As the brilliance fades, we can see a single glowing ball of light looming in the distance. It illuminates the man in the bed, Dr. Mist. Only he's dressed in the regalia of an African king. He rushes out the door. We're going to cut to outside the city gates. We see Dr. Mist on horseback, surrounded by 6 armed guards. In front of him, a glowing white field of mist has spread across the land. It seems to pulsate, like it has a pulse. A man dressed as a court physician, or priest, approaches Mist. Mist turns to him and says, "What is it?" The physician says, I don't know. I have never heard tale of such magic. It is beyond my imagining.
the workings of the god. Dr. Mist nods. Then I shall see what they will of us. He begins to ride towards the mist on his horse. As he approaches the threshold of the mist, he holds out a hand towards it. The mist seems to cling towards it, as if it wanting to latch on to him. Dr. Mist gets off his horse, then steps into the mist. It swirls all around him on either side. As he steps into it, it seems to encompass him, swallowing him whole. As he begins to walk through the mist, it surrounds him, glowing brightly. We can see the glow reflected on his skin. It pulses and flashes with brilliant white light in a seeming rhythm. Then it seems to clear away. In the center of the now exposed chunk of land, surrounded on all sides by mist, we see a woman floating off the ground. Her hair is glowing white and her skin is luminescent. She turns and looks at Mist with 4 eyes that each glow a bright white. She slowly drifts towards him without touching the ground. She reaches out a finger, then touches his forehead before he can flee. There's another brilliant flash of light. Then, she's just a woman standing on the ground. Bright blonde hair and pale skin. Only 2 eyes, each of which glow a brilliant blue. She looks up at him. I escaped him. She sounds almost ecstatic. Dr. Mist, confused, now able to understand her, says, What are you? The woman says, I am light, and I need your help. And that's actually not the end of the first scene. This is all I'm going to reveal here. This scene actually goes on for about another 5 or 6 minutes of screen time. But as you can see, even this has recontextualized several aspects of Dr. Mist's backstory. I actually wove clues to this pretty obviously, in my opinion, throughout the second and first movie. So if you go back and watch, you can probably pick up on some of these. And maybe some other things that have yet to be revealed.
Besides that, I think that's basically everything I've got coming. Y'all can look forward to all of this. And thank you for watching the State of Bjorn address. I've been Bjorn.